God sent the answer months ago, but you weren't listening. This is a final attempt to open your eyes before it's too late to respond. My beloved one, something in your spirit has been restless lately, hasn't it? You've been praying, crying out, asking heaven for a sign, for direction, for clarity. But what if I told you that the answer was already sent, long ago? Archangel Michael has been watching, standing guard by your side, carrying divine messages from the throne of God himself. Yet the noise around you, the distractions of life, the doubts and fears have made it difficult for you to hear the whisper that was meant only for you. Listen carefully, because this is not a coincidence that you're hearing this message right now. This is the final attempt to open your eyes before time shifts and the window closes. Heaven does not repeat warnings without purpose. The angelic clock has been ticking since the day you asked God for a breakthrough, but your spirit turned away before the full message was revealed. Archangel Michael says, I was sent to deliver your confirmation, but you turned your gaze toward the storm instead of the light. Do you remember those moments? The sudden dreams, the unexpected signs, the repeated numbers, the stranger who spoke something that pierced your heart. Those weren't random. Those were divine codes, gentle nudges trying to realign your path before it's too late. And now, as I speak, there is a stirring in the atmosphere. The angelic realm is in motion. A final trumpet of warning is being sounded, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because the door of opportunity is about to shift. Once it closes, it won't open again in the same way. Michael's sword of light stands between two paths before you. One is the way of clarity, faith, and divine order. The other is confusion, delay, and missed destiny. The choice must be made now, not later. Heaven has waited long enough. Child of God, the message was never lost. It was ignored. But grace has granted you this one more moment to realign, to listen deeply, and to respond in faith. Your angels have been fighting for you, holding back forces that wanted to steal your peace. Don't let them fight alone any longer. Archangel Michael whispers now, the answer is not coming. It has already come. You must open your heart to see it. Hold on, something is about to shift even as you listen. You're about to understand why certain doors were closed and why certain people were removed. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Stay right here, because the revelation about what was hidden from you is about to unfold next. Type I hear you, Lord, in the comments if this is awakening your spirit. Blessing code 1101 has just been activated. Dearest heart, there comes a time when heaven speaks not through thunder, but through silence. A time when God's answer isn't delayed, it's disguise. You asked, Lord, where are you? But the truth is, He was already there in the very situation you tried to escape. Archangel Michael reveals that many of you have been standing right at the edge of divine completion, yet you walked away because it didn't look like what you prayed for. The answer wasn't wrapped in glory, it came clothed in testing. And in that test, your destiny was quietly waiting to be recognized. Michael says, the greatest deception of darkness is not to destroy your faith, but to distract your focus. Every missed sign, every overlooked message, every ignored whisper, it wasn't that you didn't receive God's response. It was that the enemy made you believe He hadn't spoken at all. You expected the answer to come through something dramatic, but heaven's language is often hidden in simplicity. The person you dismissed, the door you didn't open, the opportunity you doubted, those were vessels heaven used to deliver your answer months ago. Child of light, the Spirit is revealing something crucial right now. Your delay has not been punishment. It has been protection. Archangel Michael has been intercepting attacks meant to confuse your path so that you would not destroy what God already prepared. You've been walking in circles because heaven was waiting for your discernment to catch up with your destiny. And now, this message comes to break that loop once and for all. Can you feel the shift? The air around you has begun to change because the revelation is descending. The Holy Presence wants to realign your senses so that you don't just hear with your ears, but with your spirit. For months, your angels have been trying to awaken you to a divine pattern repeating around your life. It's the same faces, same cycles, same disappointments, and the reason they keep reappearing is because you never caught the original message. Archangel Michael's words echo with urgency. The next chapter cannot begin until you acknowledge what heaven already revealed. You keep waiting for a sign, but heaven is waiting for your obedience. The stillness you feel right now isn't emptiness. It's the pause before divine motion. What God wants to give you next requires a quieter heart and a sharper spirit. The answer that was sent months ago is about to resurface in a form you least expect, but only if your heart is willing to listen this time. Stay close to this message, because what unfolds next carries the exact revelation you've been missing. There's something hidden inside your recent confusion, a divine clue that ties back to that moment you thought God was silent. Hold on, because Archangel Michael is about to reveal how heaven spoke through the storm and why this final attempt was set in motion right now. Type "I am ready to listen" in the comments if your spirit feels the awakening. Blessing code 2025 has now been unlocked. Precious soul, you have been walking through a season that felt like silence, but heaven was never quiet. The angels have been working in layers unseen by human eyes, rearranging the details of your life so that what once felt delayed could now arrive in divine timing. Archangel Michael stands beside you, holding the same scroll he carried months ago, the message you asked God to send. That scroll still bears your name, sealed with the mark of divine purpose. But the heavens say now, this is the hour when that seal must be broken. The truth is, God never ignored your cry. He responded immediately, but his response required transformation within you first. Many of the struggles that seemed like unanswered prayers were actually training grounds. Every disappointment, every rejection, every closed door, it was sculpting your spirit to recognize what heaven had already released. Michael says the promise was always there, but until your spirit matched the frequency of heaven's plan, you could not receive what was yours. There are moments in life when heaven waits for men to move. This is one of those moments. The divine response that you thought was withheld has been hovering in your atmosphere, like a letter waiting to be opened. But your spiritual posture must change. You must be ready to hear differently, to see beyond the surface. Because right now, the same sign you ignored months ago is reappearing before your eyes, and this time, you cannot afford to miss it. God's mercy has reached you one more time, not to shame you, but to awaken you. Archangel Michael has gone forth to clear the fog that once blinded your discernment. There is a light piercing through the veil, and that light is truth. You will begin to see that what once hurt you was actually guiding you. The person who left, the job that ended, the opportunity that vanished. It all made room for the divine alignment heaven had been arranging since the beginning. You weren't denied, you were redirected. Beloved, before the next door opens, you must release the weight of what you thought went wrong. The angels are calling your spirit to rise again. The answer you once missed will find you once more, but this time, your heart will know it. You will feel different, yet familiar. That's how you will recognize it. Because this time, you will not walk by sight, but by divine knowing. Before you go further, take a moment, breathe and let your soul listen. The very atmosphere around you is shifting as this message reaches your ears. The veil is thinning, and revelation is coming forth. Archangel Michael says, what you are about to hear next will make sense of everything you could not understand before. Keep watching. Don't move away now. The next unveiling carries the prophetic key that unlocks why you had to go through what you did, and why this moment is your final chance to respond. Like, comment, and share this message so others may awaken to the truth before their time window closes. Subscribe and stay connected, because each revelation that follows carries divine codes meant to restore clarity and alignment in your journey. Type "I am awakened" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 3311 has been released upon your life. Beloved, as this word pierces your heart, remember, every seed you sow helps heaven reach another wandering soul who is still deaf to their divine call. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you're not just donating, you're releasing oil into the lamp of this prophetic mission. God says those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Your giving becomes a living sermon that carries light where darkness once reigned. I speak this now as Archangel Michael stands witness. Every act of faith you release today will return as a multiplied harvest of breakthrough. Do not delay. Move in obedience. Heaven records those who respond. Beloved seeker of truth, when heaven speaks, it never speaks without purpose. The message you ignored months ago was not a random whisper. It was the key to your next season. Archangel Michael now stands in full strength beside you, his wings casting a radiant glow across your timeline, revealing moments you didn't understand before. The delays, the confusions, the unexpected detours, they weren't meant to punish you. They were meant to reposition you. Because the place you were standing before was not strong enough to carry what was coming next. God sent the answer in a form you couldn't recognize, because He wanted to test your hearing. Sometimes heaven hides instruction within contradiction. The very thing that looked like loss was actually the divine signal that you had reached the end of one assignment and the beginning of another. Michael says, you cried over what left, not knowing that what departed was never assigned to your future. Every unanswered question, every silent night, every closed door was speaking louder than you realized. Heaven's silence was never absence. It was a divine pause for revelation. Now, the Spirit of truth is drawing near. The answer that was sent months ago is stirring again in the realm of your spirit. You may feel it as a gentle pressure, a sudden awareness, a repeated thought that won't leave your heart. That is how heaven speaks when the moment of manifestation draws near. Your angels are positioning you for divine recall. They are bringing back to memory the very thing you dismissed before. What once seemed irrelevant is now becoming clear. What once seemed small is now unfolding as destiny. Listen closely. There are signs that will appear within the next 3 days, tiny, specific, but unmistakable. These will not be coincidences. They are divine markers from Archangel Michael to confirm that this message is from heaven. Pay attention to repeated numbers, sudden peace after prayer, or unexpected communication from someone connected to your past season. Each of these will carry a piece of the answer you once overlooked. The Holy Spirit is saying, this is your second hearing. Respond this time with obedience, not hesitation. You have entered the phase where every delay will make sense. God is aligning divine helpers who were hidden until your spirit was ready to receive them. The ones who once misunderstood you will now see the truth of your calling. The places that once rejected you will now open their gates, because the season has shifted in your favor. Michael's sword of light is cutting through confusion right now, releasing divine clarity to your heart. You will begin to see why the timing had to be delayed and why God protected certain things from you until now. Do not turn away. What you are hearing right now is not just a message. It's a divine appointment. This revelation was written into your timeline long before today. You are standing in the fulfillment of prophecy, and what unfolds next will carry the confirmation your heart has been crying out for. Stay in this flow of revelation, because in what follows, Archangel Michael will expose the spiritual reason behind the silence and the divine strategy that will shift everything in your favor. Type "I will not miss IT" again in the comments if you receive this truth. Lesson code 4407 has now been released over your destiny. Beloved vessel of light, you are standing in a sacred moment, a divine intersection between what was and what is becoming. Archangel Michael's presence intensifies now, his voice resonating through your spirit like thunder wrapped in peace. He declares, what you call silence was strategy. What you call delay was divine defense. You see, the reason heaven seemed distant for a season was because the realm of darkness had set traps around your path. Every time you grew restless, every time you felt forgotten, heaven was moving silently to dismantle what could have destroyed you had the answer arrived too soon. The Lord sent your answer months ago, yes, but He hid it until you were ready to steward it with wisdom. It wasn't withheld. It was being refined. Some blessings cannot come when your heart is still entangled with old patterns. That is why you were called into isolation. My relationship shifted. My familiar doors closed. God was removing noise so you could finally hear what He had already said. Michael's radiant sword stands as witness that the waiting was not in vain. It was holy preparation. There are seasons when God hides what you asked for inside the very thing you resisted. The conflict you faced, the misunderstanding, the closed opportunity. It wasn't rejection. It was revelation in disguise. The Lord says, I was speaking to you through the very storm you prayed to escape. Every tear that fell was watering the seed of an unseen promise. Every delay was orchestrating divine timing. The realm of angels labored around your life, ensuring that when the answer finally emerged, no power could snatch it from you again. But now, the trumpet sounds once more. The call is clear. Waken your discernment. The final attempt is not a threat. It is mercy extended. Michael stands at the gate of your destiny, his light pushing back the shadows that clouded your understanding. You are being invited into alignment with heaven's rhythm. The same message that was once ignored is coming back with greater clarity and urgency. This time, it will not pass by unnoticed. This time, the veil will be torn. You will begin to see divine patterns forming in your daily life. Conversations will carry hidden meanings. Dreams will return. Scriptures will leap off the page as if alive. Heaven is reactivating your spiritual sensitivity because the time to respond is now. What is being revealed next will connect directly to your divine assignment, the very purpose for which you were born. And when you hear it, something ancient within your soul will awaken. Do not grow weary, for this unfolding is just beginning. Michael whispers, you are closer than you realize. What heaven concealed for your protection is about to be unveiled for your elevation. Stay with this word, because the next revelation will expose the root of the confusion that blinded you, and once you see it, you will never return to who you were before. Type "I choose to" here in the comments if your spirit feels this alignment. Blessing code 5510 has just been opened over your path. Dearest one, the atmosphere around your life is shifting again. Something unseen is beginning to take form, and Archangel Michael stands at the center of it, his light cutting through every veil of confusion that once clouded your understanding. The message that heaven sent months ago is still alive, suspended in the spiritual realm, waiting for your agreement. It has never expired. It was merely waiting for you to open the eyes of your heart. The Lord says, I spoke, but your fear was louder than my promise. And now, by divine mercy, you are being invited to hear it again, clearly, deeply, and without distraction. You must understand this truth. Divine answers are not always lost. They are often delayed by perception. The human mind expects a certain shape or timing, but heaven speaks in patterns, not preferences. When you prayed, God responded immediately, but the delivery required alignment. Every challenge you faced since then was not meant to break you, but to tune your frequency to heaven's voice. That is why things you once desired began to lose their appeal, and doors you once pursued suddenly shut. It was heaven protecting you from receiving what you weren't yet prepared to carry. Archangel Michael reveals that some of the very people you thought were obstacles were actually mirrors reflecting what you needed to outgrow. The friction you experienced was holy resistance. It was pushing you toward clarity. You see, heaven cannot pour new wine into old vessels. God needed to empty your expectations before filling your spirit with truth. The silence you endured wasn't neglect. It was the purification of your hearing. Now, as your spiritual senses awaken, the answer that once seemed far away is drawing near again, and this time, nothing will be able to intercept it. A great unveiling is beginning. You will start to sense divine recall, memories, dreams, and encounters resurfacing from months ago. Pay attention, because within them lie pieces of the instruction you missed. Michael says, you have been asking for new revelation, but heaven is calling you back to the last word you ignored. The path forward is hidden in the message from before. Go back in your memory. What moment did you feel peace before you doubted? What sign repeated itself that you dismissed as coincidence? That was heaven speaking, and this message comes to restore your awareness of it. And now, listen closely, for the next phase of your awakening begins when you act. Heaven is not asking for another prayer. It is asking for your response. The angels have gone ahead of you to prepare the way. Your job is to obey the first instruction you hear after this word settles in your heart. It may be a small step, a phone call, a decision, a surrender, but it will unlock everything that's been pending. This is the divine moment you once missed returning to meet you again, carrying mercy and restoration in its wings. Do not turn away. The sound of heaven is getting stronger. The next revelation will expose the exact barrier that blocked your obedience months ago, and when you see it, you'll understand why this is truly the final attempt to open your eyes before the divine door shifts again. Stay here. The next release carries the key to your destiny alignment. Type "I will respond" this time in the comments if this word is confirming something in your heart. Blessing code 6614 has just been unlocked in your favor. Beloved, listen closely now, for the wind of revelation is blowing stronger. Archangel Michael stands upon the threshold of your destiny, his voice cutting through the layers of confusion that once muffled heaven's direction for your life. The answer that you have been searching for is not lost. It is buried beneath the noise of your fears, your doubts, and the constant reasoning of your mind. Heaven's message hath been waiting for your surrender, not your struggle. This is the hour where clarity returns, and the sound of divine truth will finally silence the echoes of uncertainty. God is showing you that what felt like delay was actually protection from premature manifestation. You see, some answers cannot arrive when the soil of your heart is still hard. The Lord softened it through waiting, through disappointment, and through seasons of stillness that felt unbearable. Every unanswered prayer, every tear, every restless night, They were part of the preparation to make sure the seed of your answered prayer would not fall on shallow ground. Archangel Michael whispers now, you were not denied, you were being deepened. There are things you walked away from that are now about to return in a divine form. Relationships, opportunities, ideas, heaven held them back until you were ready to see their true purpose. What once confused you will now begin to make sense as your spiritual hearing sharpens. God's silence was never rejection. It was the echo of His mercy. For months, the heavens have been releasing confirmation after confirmation, and each one has passed before your eyes like a moving cloud. But this time, you will recognize the pattern. This time, you will discern the divine voice behind what seemed ordinary. Michael now raises his sword of light and declares, the scales are being removed from your eyes. You will begin to see the alignment that was happening all along, the people who left, the shifts that occurred, the moments that didn't make sense. Everything was orchestrated by heaven to position you exactly where you need to be right now. Even the silence was strategic. God was never still. He was working through stillness. The absence you felt was actually divine movement beneath the surface. Beloved, heaven is not finished with you. The reason this message has reached you at this very hour is because your spirit is finally tuned to receive. Do not harden your heart again, for the voice of God is walking through your life right now, calling you into full awareness. The time for wondering has ended. The time for listening has begun. You are standing before a divine moment that will define the rest of your journey. The message that was once missed is returning with double confirmation. When you receive it this time, everything will change. Archangel Michael is saying, prepare your heart, for the hidden instruction is about to surface. What once seemed lost will reappear with light around it. This light will bring understanding and peace. What you could not interpret before, you will now perceive with spiritual accuracy. But you must stay alert. The enemy will attempt to distract you again, to make you question the clarity that is about to come. Do not let this happen. The next revelation holds the key to your immediate breakthrough, and missing it again is not an option. Hold still now. Something divine is drawing near. The next unfolding will reveal the exact moment you missed God's original message, and when you see it, your entire timeline will begin to realign. What comes next is not just revelation, it's restoration. Type I hear clearly now in the comments if your spirit is being awakened by this message. Blessing code 7712 has been released to seal this moment in your life. Beloved of heaven, there is a holy stirring in the atmosphere around you right now. It is as if time itself has bent to give you this final opportunity to see clearly what was once hidden in plain sight. Archangel Michael stands before you, his presence radiant, his eyes fierce with divine compassion. He declares the cycle is ending and the truth is unfolding. The message you once ignored is rising again, not to accuse you, but to redeem you. Heaven's mercy has been extended, and this moment is your invitation to walk back into the alignment you were destined for. For months, God's voice has been echoing through the ordinary moments of your life. He spoke through silence, through patterns, through delays, and through closed doors. Yet you were looking for a burning bush while He was whispering through your breath. The Lord says, my child, I never left you. You left the place where I last spoke. This is the time to return to that place, not physically, but spiritually. The instruction you once dismissed holds the key to everything you are praying for now. The blessing you seek is still attached to that obedience. Heaven has not changed its direction. It is waiting for your recognition. Michael reveals that divine answers often come disguised as inconvenience. The very situation you complained about was carrying the seed of your miracle. You walked past it because it looked too simple, too small, too unexpected. But God hides power in humility. He hides destiny in what the world calls insignificant. And now, the Spirit is bringing it back to your attention because the fullness of time has come. You are standing in the moment of divine recall, and heaven is saying, "See what I said. Hear what you missed. Move where I pointed." Do not underestimate the importance of this word. The reason the message is resurfacing is because heaven's patience has reached its final turn for this cycle. What you do now determines what unfolds next. Archangel Michael is clearing the interference that once clouded your discernment. Your spirit is regaining clarity, and your understanding is sharpening. The answer that was hidden will now be undeniable. You will see the pattern, feel the confirmation, and know that this was God's message all along. But this time, you must respond immediately. Delay has already stolen too much from your timeline. The Spirit of God says, this is the moment to move without fear. What seemed risky before will now carry divine favor. The very place that once felt uncertain will now open like a gate of light before you. The chains that held you in indecision are breaking, and heaven's wind is pushing you forward. Michael's sword of truth is cutting through the fog of hesitation, declaring, you will not miss it again. What lies ahead requires courage, not confirmation. The time to act has come. Before this revelation closes, I ask you to lift your heart in gratitude. Every moment of delay was redeemed in this divine encounter. God has chosen this very moment to realign your steps and restore what was almost lost. Share this message with those who need awakening. Comment your agreement, for each word of faith written releases light into the spiritual atmosphere. And subscribe to stay connected, for what comes next will open deeper mysteries that heaven is preparing to reveal. Type "I will obey" now in the comments if this message resonates within your spirit. Blessing code 8820 has been activated over your obedience. Child of God, this mission is not just a channel. It is a divine call to awaken souls who have fallen asleep to heaven's voice. Every act of support keeps this prophetic flame burning, reaching hearts across the nations. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you become a vessel of divine partnership. You sow light where confusion reigns, and your seed becomes a bridge for others to hear God again. The Lord says, those who build my altar will never lack oil. As you release your offering, heaven marks your name in the scroll of remembrance. This is not charity, it is obedience. Release your seed with faith, and Archangel Michael will command a blessing to flow back into your life multiplied. Chosen one, the spiritual atmosphere has shifted again, and with it comes the unveiling of truth long concealed. Heaven's sound is moving through your spirit like a river of light, awakening memories, dreams, and moments you once overlooked. Archangel Michael stands before the courts of heaven, presenting your name before the throne, declaring, this one is ready to see. The time of blindness is ending. The message that once passed by your spirit unrecognized is returning with undeniable confirmation. You are being given a sacred opportunity to rewrite what was once missed. God's mercy is astounding. Even when you didn't listen, He kept sending echoes of His word through repetition, through patterns, through the subtle pull on your spirit. He never stopped speaking. You simply stopped stilling yourself to hear. The world's noise grew louder than heaven's whisper. Yet now, the Lord is silencing every distraction that once competed for your attention. There is a holy hush surrounding your destiny at this very moment. The angels are adjusting frequencies around you so that your inner hearing becomes clear again. Michael says, you mistook God's instruction for interruption. You thought that inconvenience meant misdirection. But heaven was actually redirecting you to a safer path, one that you could not see at the time. The detours were not punishment, they were preservation. The answer you have been waiting for was released the very moment you prayed. It simply took time for your heart to reach the place where you could carry it without breaking under its weight. The waiting refined you, and now the word that was once hidden will begin to manifest. Look carefully at what is happening around you. Notice the small shifts. Notice the patterns that repeat. The same conversation themes, the same dream symbols, the same stirring in your heart at specific hours of the day. These are not coincidences. They are divine markers reminding you of what God said before. The Lord is saying, "Return to my last instruction, for it is still alive." This is your invitation to walk back into alignment. The door you thought was closed has not been sealed. It was simply waiting for your return. Beloved, the heaviness you've been feeling lately is not oppression. It is spiritual labor. You are birthing understanding. The answer has been gestating inside your spirit, growing quietly, unseen. The discomfort you feel is the sign that it is ready to emerge. Heaven is drawing near to deliver what was delayed, but you must stay alert. Michael's sword is now positioned to cut away every false perception that still blinds your vision. When the light comes, it will come suddenly and with power. What comes next will reveal the moment when heaven first sent your answer, the exact place where you stopped listening, and the exact way God is redeeming that silence. The final layers are being removed, and your clarity will return sharper than ever before. You will understand why certain doors never reopened and why certain connections had to end. The revelation will not only heal you, it will propel you. This is the divine shift that heaven has been preparing you for all along. Type ISE clearly now in the comments if this word has awakened your understanding. Blessing code 9916 has just been released over your timeline. Beloved listener of truth, you are standing in a moment that feels both familiar and new. That is because heaven is replaying what was once missed, giving you a second hearing of what your soul failed to receive before. Archangel Michael stands close now, his wings spread wide as a covering of light. He says this is not a repeat. This is redemption. Every sign you ignored, every whisper you dismissed, every divine nudge you silenced out of fear, heaven has gathered them all and turned them into a new beginning. You are no longer standing where you were. You are standing where obedience is possible again. God's patience is not weakness. It is mercy wrapped in time. When the answer was first sent, your heart was still attached to things that blurred your perception. You prayed for confirmation, but your spirit wasn't ready to handle conviction. So God paused the manifestation until the refining could take place. And now, after seasons of uncertainty, pain, and inner stretching, you finally carry the maturity to understand what was once misunderstood. The same message that once felt confusing will now feel like peace. The same instruction that once seemed difficult will now seem natural. Heaven has not changed its word. Heaven has changed your capacity to receive it. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven's timeline moves differently than human time. When you thought God was silent, He was actually reordering events to align perfectly with your spiritual growth. Every delay was divine orchestration. The timing you called late was in truth perfect. Michael's sword points to your heart and says, "Look again at what you called a mistake." Because within what you thought went wrong lies the hidden seed of what is now being restored. God never forgot what He promised. He simply waited until your hearing was pure enough to receive without distortion. You are entering a moment of deep unveiling. Dreams that were once forgotten will return in detail. People from past seasons may reappear only to remind you of what you missed the first time. The Spirit will bring to mind specific words or situations that now carry meaning they didn't before. This is the grace of divine recall. Heaven is not just giving you a new answer. It's reminding you of the original instruction that carried your destiny. This time, when you act on it, the delay will break. The waiting will end. The manifestation will come quickly, because heaven is no longer testing. Heaven is releasing. Beloved, the Lord is saying even now, respond while the gate is still open. There is a small window of divine opportunity hovering over your life. What you do in this moment determines how the next season unfolds. Obedience is no longer optional. It is the key. You have cried for restoration, but restoration is unlocked through response. Archangel Michael stands as your witness, commanding the winds of alignment to blow upon your path. You will see what you once prayed for materialize, not because heaven suddenly moved, but because you finally did. Stay with this message. The next revelation will uncover the exact reason God calls this a final attempt. Heaven is about to expose what happens when divine timing shifts and how obedience can still redeem what delay once damaged. This is where the truth will pierce deeper than ever before. Stay alert, for the next unveiling carries the final instruction before the blessing descends. Type "I am in alignment" in the comments if this revelation has stirred your heart. Blessing code 1007 has now been activated upon your spirit. Beloved child of light, this moment carries divine weight, for heaven is speaking one last time before the shift of seasons fully occurs. The presence of Archangel Michael surrounds you like fire wrapped in peace. His voice now pierces through time itself as he declares, "This is the hour of awakening. The answer that was once missed has reached its appointed time. The pages of your destiny that once remained closed are being reopened, and your name is being spoken in the heavenly courts once again. You are being summoned back into alignment with the plan that was written before your birth." The reason this message feels intense is because it carries both mercy and urgency. Heaven's patience is not endless, it is purposeful. Every call ignored shortens the window for response. God is love, yes, but He is also order. When you fail to act within divine timing, the sequence of blessings begins to shift, and what was once easily accessible becomes hidden again. Yet here you are being given another chance to hear what you once silenced. This is not coincidence. This is divine mercy intervening before destiny resets. Archangel Michael reveals that the missed message was not just about direction. It was about assignment. There are people, nations, and callings attached to your obedience. When you paused, destinies that depended on your yes paused with you. But now, as heaven reopens the scroll, the ripple effect of your obedience will be greater than before. Every lost opportunity is about to be redeemed by acceleration. The time you thought was wasted will now be compressed into swift restoration. God says, "I am multiplying the years that delay tried to steal." There is, however, a sacred warning woven into this revelation. When heaven repeats itself, it is not for comfort, it is for confirmation. God will not send this message again in this form. The next time you hear His voice, it will require immediate action. Do not wait for the perfect moment, your obedience will create it. You must step forward while faith is fresh, for hesitation is the enemy's final weapon. Archangel Michael stands ready to clear your path, but he can only move when you do. This message is your release order, your permission to walk out of waiting and into fulfillment. You will soon feel divine movement all around you. Small signs at first, but each one will carry heaven's fingerprint. Conversations will confirm what your spirit already knows. Dreams will align with words you've heard in prayer. Encounters will feel divinely timed. That is heaven saying, Now is the moment. You not second guess it. You have already discerned enough. It is time to act. The answer that was once delayed is now descending into your reality, and your obedience will anchor it. Beloved, you have carried confusion long enough. You have wept, waited, and wondered if heaven forgot. But heaven never forgot. It was preparing you to handle the weight of answered prayer. Now, the cycle closes. The answer is before you. The message is clear, and the Spirit is whispering. This is your moment of response. The next revelation that unfolds will show you how to step fully into that response and seal your divine alignment forever. You not drift away now. The final word will complete what heaven began months ago. Type "I am ready to obey" in the comments if this truth burns within your spirit. Blessing code 1119 has been released as a sign of your restored covenant with divine timing. Beloved vessel of destiny, this is it. The final revelation, the closing of the circle that heaven began months ago. Archangel Michael stands before you now, radiant and fierce, holding the scroll that bears your name. His voice is not angry. It trembles with holy urgency as he says, "This is the final attempt to awaken what has been asleep within you. You have come through silence, confusion, resistance, and delay, but through it all, heaven never abandoned you. The very fact that these words have reached you proves that grace is still moving in your direction. God's hand is extended one more time, offering the same instruction, the same truth, but now with amplified power. This is the moment where heaven watches to see if you will finally act. The Spirit of God says, "I sent the answer, but fear silenced your discernment. I spoke clearly, but distractions drown my whisper. Yet I have chosen to speak again, not because you deserve it, but because mercy refuses to let go. The realm of heaven has fought for your awareness. Every unanswered prayer, every divine delay, every restless dream, each of these was heaven's attempt to break through the fog of human reasoning and reach your heart. You were never forsaken. You were being refined until the truth could live safely inside you. Now the testing season ends. The window of divine recall is closing, and the instruction you obey in this moment will determine the landscape of your next years." Archangel Michael's sword gleams with light as he declares, "Heaven has repeated itself for the last time." This is the turning point where indecision becomes obedience, where confusion becomes clarity, and where silence becomes understanding. The answer you once ignored is now standing before you fully visible. Do not analyze it. Receive it. The time for questioning has passed. The time for response has come. God is saying, do it now. Speak it now. Move now. The delay that once felt like protection will become obstruction if you hesitate again. Heaven has aligned divine help around you. Doors will open quickly, confirmations will appear, and provision will follow obedience. What was once slow will now accelerate. This is what it means when heaven says, the final attempt. It is not punishment. It is prophecy fulfilled. The angels who waited on your decision are now ready to move at your command. All they need is your yes. Beloved, take this moment seriously. This is not a message to store. It is a message to activate. Your next step is not about comfort. It is about covenant. When you respond to this word with action, you align yourself with the very rhythm of heaven. And once you do, the weight that has sat on your heart for months will lift like smoke disappearing into the morning light. You will finally understand that God never ignored you. He simply waited for you to listen deeply enough to hear him. Now let your heart bow in gratitude. Speak your surrender aloud, even quietly where you are. Heaven is listening. The light of Archangel Michael surrounds you. sealing this revelation with divine fire. The angels rejoice, for the answer that was once missed has now been received. This is not the end. It is your new beginning. Walk forward now, and do not look back. The next sound you hear in your spirit will not be warning. It will be confirmation that you have obeyed. If this message has spoken to your soul, share it so that others may awaken before their moment passes. Leave your declaration in the comments, for every written word of faith becomes a testimony that multiplies light. Subscribe and stay connected to this divine flow, because heaven's voice will continue to release deeper mysteries through this space. Type "I have heard" and "I obey" in the comments to seal your covenant with this word. Blessing code 1212 has been released as a mark of obedience and new beginning. Beloved, as this revelation draws to its close, remember that every light needs oil to keep burning. When you support this mission through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you become a part of heaven's army that carries truth into places still trapped in silence. This is not about funding a platform. It is about fueling a calling. Your seed becomes the oil that keeps prophetic fire alive. The Lord declares, "Those who sustain my message will share in its reward." Each act of giving is a divine response that echoes in eternity. Release it with faith, and Archangel Michael himself will stand as witness that your offering has become a key of breakthrough for many. Move now, not out of obligation, but out of obedience, for this too is part of your response to heaven's call.